Hello and welcome to the Good Guy podcast. Hello, it's me. This is a really good podcast. It's with Santino Smith and Scott Mackie. They were in chatting about their play that they've got on in London called Afters. We weren't sure if we'd mentioned the title of it. I am vaguely out of shot, but I've just got the camera set up for when they were here in the new house / studio. Having the crack. The play's called Afters. It's on 3rd till the 8th of February. It's a really fucking good episode. I really enjoyed it. It's an hour long because they had to shoot off the rehearsals. But I thought it was really fucking good. I'm really, really pleased with it. Sorry it's been a while since the last episode. I hope it's been worth the wait. Why did I say that like a newsreader? Fuck it. All my fucking show dates are on my Instagram. Check it out. The 42 Comedy Club is at Brewdog Dalston every Wednesday. If you're in Dublin, fuck it. This Wednesday, the Cherry Comedy at Whelan's, Breakout Act of the Year. Come through for that. Vote for me. Vote for Vittorio. Vote for Vito. But thanks for coming along to the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. And I will see you never.
My head is filled with questions, and I can assure you no answer to any one of them has ever brought me one iota of happiness.
We are all equals as human beings.
I'm a unicorn. I'm a unicorn. I am a unicorn, and you're not gonna tell me that I'm not.
What is happening? What have we done? What mistakes have we made? Let's re-examine our existence.
42.
Let's get started.
Welcome to episode something of the Good Guy podcast. We're here with... Do you want to introduce yourself? Here, fucking get that up
sorry.
amongst your face. You too.
It's my first ever podcast. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know how it works. How close to you? I was rubbish at radio as well at drama school, so...
I'm Scott.
Sorry.
I'm Scott Mackie.
I'm Santino Smith.
Very good. Welcome to the show. So we're here to talk about Afters, which is a play that you have collectively written as a pair.
Yes.
Shall we get the fucking... Let's get the dates out at the top, so that if anyone gets bored in the middle,
They'll already
at least
know
they've heard the
they need to
date.
know.
So if you're in Glasgow, fuck you, it's sold out.
That's the point we want to get across. If you're in Glasgow, fuck you.
That's a joke.
Yeah. We love you.
Thank you so much for everyone that bought tickets so far.
And if you don't, message us and we'll see what we can do. But
Yeah, it was
Glasgow is the 12th and 13th of February at the Old Hairdressers. And in London, we're running at the White Bear Theatre, which is
Where-
in Kennington.
Kennington.
Yeah, like
one
2-minute
stop.
walk from
Yeah.
Kennington Station.
Yeah, it's one stop down from Waterloo.
Very good.
On the
So you can get the Waterloo and City line before, if you're coming from Bank.
Sure.
If you're coming from Walthamstow, you can get the Victoria all the way down to Stockwell, and then it's 2 stops up to Kennington.
Yeah.
That's for you, Vittorio.
If you're coming from Walthamstow, set off at 9 a.m.
So what are
That's
the...
the 3rd to the 8th of February.
And I'm going to be there on the 8th of February.
You're gonna
But the
be
8th is now sold out.
Yes.
The last night's sold out.
So if you wanted to come watch me, watch their play, bad luck.
Missed
Yes,
your chance.
that's true. Yeah.
Bad
Unless you
luck.
come another night.
Well,
You can come every night and make
I'll
a little
take,
performance
I'll
art
take a
piece.
comp. I'll take a comp.
For the promo.
We'll talk about this off mic.
I'll get my people
Yeah, to talk to our
TV
people.
your people. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
So what is-
7:30 p.m.
7:30. Thanks.
There you go.
The time that shows start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, because last time, in our last play, because the White Bears like does loads of fringe stuff, so there was 2 shows on. So there was one show on before us, which started at 7:30 and was supposed to end at 8:30, but
Yeah,
man
it was supposed to
ran
end with enough time for us to begin at 8:30.
yeah.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a one-man show that continually ran over its time.
So a lot of
Fucking
time we didn't
George
start-
Webster, man.
Well, a lot of time we didn't start till like 9 p.m.
Yeah. which will not be the case this time
No.
because there's no other show on.
That's right. It's
We
just
made
us.
demands.
Nothing but this isn't the fucking Fringe.
Yeah,
Okay, guys.
Well, we are the headline act.
Yeah.
There's no support.
No
Fuck off.
bullshit.
This is
No
real
fucking. None of your fucking emotional nonsense.
Yeah.
before.
Absolutely.
No warm up from Vittorio before the show begins. Although on Saturday, if you get to the bar at 6:30, I'm sure you'll.
I'll be spinning yarns.
People won't want to come up to the show.
Having too much fun downstairs.
Hang
Yeah,
on,
man.
Vittorio started a story that's got another 3 acts.
Oh man. So what is Afters about?
Well, essentially, it began. Santino and I wrote a play together a few years ago called the Unemployed Actors Union, which we did at the White Bear, and it went really well. But we decided rather than pushing on with that play, we'd write a new one, which began with us meeting in a Weatherspoons, and Santino had an idea about a play beginning with at the sort of end of an after party, like the last dregs of the people in a house, in a flat.
I get anxiety just thinking
Me
about
too.
that.
Do you not like that bit?
Not when you're aware that you're the last person at an after party.
I
Yeah, and you
like
don't- and
the
you've
dying
forgotten who you're
embers.
with.
Yeah,
I like
And
the
you-
dying embers. Everyone's more honest at the dying embers.
absolutely. But that's where
Well,
things
hence-
that's where like
Hence theatre.
that's where the most exciting stuff goes down. It's at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah,
and then you've
yeah.
got a play.
And this play is essentially an after party that lasts 2 days. It goes from an after party into the next day, and then becomes another party.
Oh, sick.
And it's all set over like 1 24-hour period. Most of it's in real time.
So when you said 2 days, 1 day.
Yeah, it's across 2 days.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Vittorio.
It is one day.
But it's a calendar
well,
days.
that's true. No, yeah, because it begins at we tip into the day after, because it begins at like 4 a.m. on a Wednesday.
But that counts as the Tuesday because that's the party.
Sure. The whole play is set around 2 days.
yeah.
But the actual thing you watch is probably about 24 hours maybe.
Yeah.
But it's only
Condensed
the
into an
show's
hour.
only an hour.
Yes, yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
a
it's
24-hour
not
piece
so-
of theatre.
No.
But it's essentially about two characters who were friends when they were younger in Paisley in the west coast of Scotland. One of them has moved to London, and he's got a girlfriend who he wants to make his fiancée, and has sort of left his old life behind, and sort of lost I suppose the part of your identity that is that belongs to where you come from. He's sort of moved away from that part of himself, and so has left his best friend behind. And this play begins with them meeting up after many years apart.
And my character has never left Paisley.
Yeah.
So, like, I know me and Scott, because we went to drama school, not in Glasgow. So you do have those mates who, like, you know, you've left, and you come back and there's just pals who, like, haven't.
Yeah, and I find that really spooky when I
Yeah.
go back.
But, like, not in a bad way, but, like, you are like, oh fuck, nothing's changed, really.
Yeah, it's weird, and
not
because
massively, like,
and I find myself when I go back to Belfast like almost struggling to slot in to their very set kind of hierarchy and like what they do and who they like. You're not in any of the WhatsApp groups. You're not in any of the. It's kind of like
I also find myself, like, making up for lost time. Like, when I'm home, I have to do, like, go out all the time and get all the stories.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So that when I go back for 3-4 months, you know, I've got, remember that time? You know, I've not got, like,
yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
time we were 16 and we did that
Yeah.
crazy thing? There's just none of that. So I think that was also a part of it, of, like, getting these two conflicting characters. One of them's forgotten their identity and one of them's never let go of theirs.
Doesn't let it go.
Doesn't ever let it go. So, like, obviously there's pros and cons to both.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's what it's all about, is that, like, you know, my character, it's great that he's never forgotten or left where he's come from, but he probably should branch out and
At least-
experience life.
Yeah, because
Whereas Scott's character has forgotten everything.
And is therefore a bit lost without really realizing it. He thinks he's on the track to
Yeah.
adulthood, and we were also excuse me, thinking about the fact that like our generation, it seems like we're finding it harder and harder to like grow up and like settle into the old ideas of what adulthood is. People are still going out and getting like fucked up on the weekends well into their 30s and 40s, and you know, and that's just an observation. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the sort of tagline for this play is, it's about growing up in today's world and whether or not you should. And there are merits to like, you know, trying to settle down. And, you know, my character, he's got a flat, he's got his girlfriend, he's got his job, he's, you know, but there are also merits to maintaining a sort of joyful, childlike innocence.
Yeah.
And then the other two characters are my character's girlfriend, Sarah, and Laura, who's a pizza delivery girl who just sort of gets roped into the hilarious antics of
farcical elements of our play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are both equally people who are... Sarah, sort of like my character, really thinks she knows who she is and what she's doing with her life, but through the course of the play and the events of this evening, 24 hours, whatever it is, realizes that maybe she's not quite as happy as she thought.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I meet up with people back home, and it's weird because a lot of the people that we interact with in London are kind of artists, actors, writers, musicians, that kind of thing. So we're all living that similarly chaotic kind of gig lifestyle of like job to job, jobs in between jobs that just tide you over, and making your own work and doing all this stuff. And I remember I was doing a gig back home, like a comedy show, and a mate of mine from school, like we weren't super close in school, but he was just like in my class. We never really spoke, but he was in my class. Came up to me after, was like, "Oh man, how's it going?" And he was like asked me questions, and I was like, "Oh, what are you up to?" And he was like, "Oh no, it's boring. Like you wouldn't want to fucking." And I was like, "What?
Please tell me."
Like, please, I'm so excited by like your like 9 to 5. It's very interesting as like these kind of manic artsy people, how like fascinated, and maybe we romanticize the stability of a 9 to 5, and they romanticize the chaos of like what we do.
I think about like having 9 to 5 sometimes, and it gets me so porny in like a non-weird way.
Horny or porny?
Horny, I said.
All right. I thought you wanted a 9 to 5 in porn. I don't think that's a 9 to 5.
But just like in the sense of like, you're right, the stability, the kind of like, you know, knowing what you're going to do day in, day out.
Yeah.
That kind of like, it's reliable, you know, and you always have 2 days off to do whatever, and then you're back to it. You finish at 6 every day, and you've got your evening and all that kind of stuff. And then like my girlfriend, she's got a 9 to 5. And like you were saying there, she's just like, I don't want to talk about work. And I'm like, but I want to hear.
Like living for the weekend.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like, I can work, because I'm so freelance, like it could be like I can work Saturday, Sunday.
This is the thing.
Like my weekend's a Wednesday and a Monday, do you know what I mean?
I did 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, a show on Sunday, and then went to watch another mate in a show on Sunday as well. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so that was my weekend. That doesn't, and now it's Monday, and I feel like I'm midweek. Like it just doesn't fucking. Yeah. It's whatever. It is very strange. Like, what's your? Because there's an interesting thing where there's people living for the weekend.
Yeah.
Which I guess the play like addresses with.
It's. I think. Well, sorry. Our last play was about actors, and that's just what we know, you know, and wanted to write about. But really, it was about love and lots of other things. But
layers.
Layers. It was, but with this one, we wanted to have people who were juxtaposed to that lifestyle.
Yes.
So essentially, 2 of the characters in this play are much more free-spirited, and 2 of them are much more sort of neurotic, and this living for the weekend thing of like getting through your days in order to go and drink until you forget about how mind-numbingly dull your days are. But then there's also that culture of drinking in this country as well, where the sort of wild and carefree spirits who can drink on a Monday if they want at 2 in the afternoon because they're not working till the evening or whatever it is. they're still drinking to forget, like
Yeah.
to sort of push out whatever it is
Yeah.
they're trying to push out.
But
So
also-
no one's happy.
Yeah, but also I'm like, because the play starts, the audience enter as if it's 4 a.m. on a Wednesday, which I think is like something that more when I come down to London, that like any night of the week you want to go out, you can.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's a club in Soho or whatever that's open till 3 a.m, 5 a.m. every night.
Yeah.
But as I go home to Glasgow, all the pubs definitely close at 12. You can't get booze after 10 p.m. from an off license. Certain nightclubs are open till 3-4, but only on certain nights.
Mm-hmm.
So it is this kind of like, cliche city never sleeps, but like it is like,
you can keep
my
going
character
if you want.
comes down and surprises his character on a Tuesday evening, and they can go out till 3-4 in
Yeah,
the morning
that
and have a
option is
house
there.
party,
Yeah.
because like that's the options there. And it is that, like, we're talking about romanticising stuff, like romanticism about London in particular, of like, London's so exciting, it's so buzzing, and things happen all the time, when actually I just know from living here 24/7 it's rubbish. Do you know what I mean?
Lonely.
Like, it's lonely, really lonely at
place
times.
is what I found.
And like I have pals that come down, they're like, alright, so would you want, like, I want to see London. I'm like, I couldn't tell you where to go.
Yeah,
I'm like, I can show you
Tooting.
Tooting, because that's where I live and that's where I go, but I would never, like, I don't go out into like Soho
I hate
every
yeah.
weekend. Do you know what I mean?
I don't like. I mean, I end up seeing a lot of London because I do comedy shows
course,
like all
yeah.
over. Which means, but it's interesting that like stuff that people will like fly across the world to come and see, we walk past by accident.
Yeah,
Like you'll just
absolutely.
be passing Big Ben and be like, right,
Yeah.
there's Big Ben.
Annoyed at how many people are around.
Yeah, and just be like,
Even,
fuck.
Stressed out.
Also,
Yeah.
I feel like London makes you numb to like tons of things. Like I was
Yeah.
walking about and I just missed it, but I saw this cyclist who'd been hit by a car, and I just walked past it and I was like, oh, it's just London, you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean?
That's what happens, yeah.
But that's what happens. But if that happened in Glasgow, I'd be more inclined
Everyone
to
would
like
be
go
stopped
over and
and-
stop and
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
be around, and there was people around helping them, but like you do get that in this set in particular. There is that kind of like everyone's busier than you.
Yeah.
They all have to be somewhere else, and they've all got their own agenda, which, unless there's something mental or something that affects you, then you just don't have time to like deal with it.
It's
Do you know
mad.
what I mean?
I
Everyone
found
minds
that-
their own business, but in like a not a great way.
Yeah, it's because it's such an anonymous city. There's no like accountability
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like sense of community. You get that in the smaller places further out. Like around here, this kind of feels like a little villagey thing, similar
Yeah.
with Tooting,
Yeah.
where it's got like you don't have to go into town to get anything.
No.
In the sense of like you don't have to go into fucking Oxford Circus or whatever, but you come.
Yeah, of course.
Like you've got your own little high street and your
Absolutely,
own little
yeah.
kind of whatever. But some of those areas of London, like fucking, I end up spending a lot of time in and around like Covent Garden
Yeah.
and South Ken as well, and it's like this is just fucking chaos,
Yeah.
and it's just brutal.
It's like, you moved, or I when I moved to London, and similar with the character in the play, there's this feeling that you're moving to somewhere that's gonna be, it's like one of the most beautiful cities, and it's it's like gonna be paved with gold, and it's where people go and do well and all this kind of stuff. And at first, for me, I was, I'd walk across the bridges and just be like, wow, this is I'm so lucky to be here. And then as like the years go by and you're like spending most of your time in underground tubes,
Yeah.
suffocating and like rattling around with the rats,
yeah.
and you're like, this is, and then as you say, you walk around and the streets are filled with people and you get frustrated all the time and you can't see the stars at night and you can't see far because of the
You
buildings.
can't see the horizon. That's always
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Like, if you look, you can spin around
Your
fully
perspective is
horizontally.
like-
You can't see the sky.
Yeah.
And I think, this character in this play and parallels me as well, is that like, I feel like as the years have gone by, my gaze has just gone like lower. I used to like look up at it sounds cliche, but like look up at the buildings and look at St. Paul's and be like, wow, people built this. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now like I just look down at where my feet are moving so that I don't break my stride for a second, because like I got to get to work, or I got to do this, I got to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the joy of like recapturing? And when I go home and I see the expanse and you can see like fields and green.
But
It's
also,
like, breathe.
me and Scott were walking about just before Christmas there, and we were in Carnaby Street, and obviously Carnaby Street during Christmas has all those beautiful lights and all that. and I was getting really annoyed with people like stopping taking photos of it.
Yeah.
To the point where like
Why are
I'd
you
like
enjoying this?
get in the way of their photos, so they had to take another one, and that was a little win for me. I was like, yeah, that'll show them.
It's
Do
mad.
you know what I
how
mean? But like,
frustrated you
but
get.
obviously, like if I went to New York or like any
Yeah,
other
you
major
could
city in the
do
world,
it
like
on
I'd be
Times
taking
Square,
photos
you'd be
like,
fucking
but
going
I'm
mad.
taking all the time. But because here I'm like, you know, what they doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have to walk up, come on, move, and you just get more irritable, and it is that kind of like. But also, I think the play is also a bit like, you know, my own nostalgic love for house parties. Just
They are good. And
especially our age, because living in London, like you never get to house parties now, but just because everyone wants to go out.
but
when you
and
do,
also
you
because
save so
everyone's
much
houses
money.
are so far
Well,
away
exactly.
from each other.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, you came here and it's fucking in the middle of nowhere.
But if you were like having a house party, I'd be like,
yeah.
okay.
Do you know
Well,
what
I
I mean?
guess I better pack a bag
Yeah.
because I'm gonna stay over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
because it's like,
Yeah.
it takes me an hour to get home. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. At
But is
least
that,
if there's
like-
no fucking night tube, it's like a couple of buses.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I love a house party, just people chatting absolute shite.
Yeah, it's also
I like
it
it.
gives
Meeting-
you that that honesty you were talking about
Yeah.
at the end of the night. Like that's where this play begins, and it gives us the ability to like in an hour of time dig into the truth, because some people
Yeah,
when they
it
are
cuts the
really
the
fucked up is
shit.
the only time that
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
actually say, you know, things will come out. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I'm happy in my relationship, or like
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
You don't have to waste time
To a stranger
doing
at
all these,
4
like,
a.m.
pleasantries,
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
You're like,
And
yeah.
you make
I
best
love you. Yeah.
yeah. You meet people you don't know through friends of friends, whatever, and you're like best pals with them
Yeah.
straight away, and you're getting absolutely steaming, and you're like really
Yeah.
chatting to them, or you fall in love for an evening, you're like,
Yeah.
I'll never see you again, or like
Yeah.
you feel this like thing like, oh my god, I fell in love at a house party.
Yeah.
But you're just like steaming and you're having
You're
shite
like
chats.
your girlfriend or your flatmate or whatever comes into a room and is like, okay, I think we should go, it's like really late, we should go, and you're like, yeah, but me and Stephen here are getting into our issues about our parents, and I think we should stay here for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never
Yeah,
leaving him
you, like-
again.
Something about it, you allow yourself to be like super vulnerable, and like I found that at like the most fucked up parts of my life, like when I went through a really bad breakup. I'd like meet people on a night out and be like, how's it going? And I'd be like, oh, I was with my girlfriend for 4 years. And like, I was just like fucking...
Immediately,
They're like,
yeah.
oh god,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. How are you? I think I'm weak.
Yeah.
I think I'm a weak person. I'm
I'm
realizing.
shaking up right now.
Yeah.
It's like... That's a weird thing, but like... It isn't... This idea of like London and the sense of identity, because London... Its identity is multiculturalism. So it's like the whole thing is that everyone's here and it's so diverse and there's all sorts of people. That sense of, so you both had different introductions to London, where Scott, you moved down at 18, 19?
17.
17, moved down at the start of uni, whereas Tino, you moved
I was
after uni.
I was 21.
So how was your experience moving down? Or up? Sideways?
Yeah, because Cardiff sideways. Well, I mean, I love Cardiff. It was just like a mini Glasgow for me, and I could walk everywhere. It was class. Do you know what I mean? Like, people were good crack and stuff. So moving to London, I'd moved in with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and it was fine, you know. And then, you know, we broke up, and then I moved in somewhere else with the boys that I live with now. But I was just the thing that hit me the most was money spent on travel.
That's the big...
I'd never spent more than £1.20 on travel. My whole life, like, to get from my house in Glasgow into centre town, it's £1.20, £1.25 a return, which is mental, 5p extra for a return. And then all of a sudden I'm in London and I have to factor in, when I'm working, £8 a day in travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for cutting about, like going to and from work. And that was the biggest thing for
You
me.
have to be like, is it worth doing this job? Is
Yeah.
it worth meeting this person?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like desperate to find a job that I could walk to, which I eventually did. And the amount of money that I saved in that was
It's
like
crazy.
It's crazy. Do you mean? So like, you know, I was lucky that I didn't. Cause I know a lot of people that move to London and they go into a house share with people they don't know.
Yeah, there's it's so I know one person in this house.
Oh,
and there's
really?
two that I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Never
So I
met.
mean, like,
Never met.
I've met one of them a couple of times. One of them literally once.
right, okay.
But it's like. It's
But yeah, I
like
mean,
fun.
I was lucky. I moved in with boys that I all knew. from drama school. So that was lucky.
It makes such a difference.
Oh, and they all...
I get straight, like, I'll be in bed and be like, I should get up, and then I'll hear someone moving in the kitchen and be like, I might not know them.
Yeah, but
I do that sometimes with the boys at the outlet. I've known them for years. Oh, he's in the kitchen, I'm not going there. I can't listen to another story about
But it was good. I was lucky to have that, and Tooting was obviously a really nice area that I moved to, just in terms of like community and all that.
Yeah.
But it was tough because you leave drama school and you just think, oh well, I'll make it. Like, I'll go to London and I'll get tons of jobs and that'll be me. Yeah. And then if you don't, you're like, oh no, fucking hell, like, you know. And then I've had a few times thoughts of like, oh, I should just go up the road. But then, you know, like, as shite it is, sometimes, like, if you meet a really good group community here, it is class.
That's a really important
thing. It's really lucky. Like, even now, like, I've met you a few times. We've got that wee WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott, you're not.
It's alright, don't worry about it.
But, like, do you mean you make pals as you're going?
It's so hard to find a sense. So, we're working, if you're working like a resting job or whatever the fuck you want to call it, like in between artsy jobs, so acting jobs or comedy or whatever, you're not seeing the same people every day necessarily, because it's not like an office where everyone's there every day. It'll be like bar work where different people are on shift, whatever, or this fucking. So you're not seeing the same group of people every day, and then you come home and you have another job, which is fucking applying to stuff on Spotlight and doing self tapes and preparing and learning lines and doing all and writing fucking plays, and it's like all this stuff, but you just. It's so hard to maintain that sense of like a community that you belong to and a sense of belonging in London. Whereas something so silly as like supporting Celtic is just a stupid excuse to go, who's watching the match tomorrow at this pub? And it's like, you can like tick two things in your life where it's like, I get to watch the match and I get to see all those mates, and it's just something to latch on to.
That's why people are into football. I didn't know it got you mates. I'm going to start supporting something. What gives me the most mates?
Celtic for sure.
Okay, cool.
Nobody else. But no, you're right, it is. Also, like, I love hanging out with folk that, like, aren't actors.
Yeah.
And just chatting
it
to
took
them,
me a
like,
while to realise that.
Yeah, but just, like, it's just so, like, especially because we have pals, all of us that have pals who are doing, like, really well. And there's this fucking awful thing that people do where it's like, if you meet an actor or someone you met at drama school or someone you've met, and the way I would ask you, what are you up to? You could go, oh, nothing, just take my super noodles and blah, blah. They go, oh, and they list you their CV or auditions they're doing. You're like,
we're not networking
fuck,
now.
do you know what I mean? I just asked you what you're up to.
Man.
Not like, how's your career going?
Yeah, it's like, you say, what are you up to? And they tell you what self-tape they sent off yesterday. And you're like, right. You're telling me you applied for a job is what you're telling me there. And
it's just, and it makes you feel shy because you're like, oh, is this my life? Like, chatting to folk about what we're up to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's naff,
So
man.
it's good when you find pals that, like, you know, and that's when me and Scott are super close as well, because although we have this writing ability team together, like, you know, most of the time we meet up, we spend a good half hour just chatting about what we've done since we last seen each other. And it's never acting. So that's good. Thank goodness for having Unemployed.
So what's that like? Because I've done some writing and I'm in the middle of some writing. See that green case on the floor? That is... Oh no, it's on my bed. That has a laptop which I've lost the charger to, and it has half of a play I've written on it, and I need to buy a new charger to get it onto my new laptop to finish my play. But what was that like? Because I remember finding it quite difficult when I was writing. I said, I'm writing 500 words a day, whether it's in like a document that's just a train of thought or it's in the actual script that has to add up to 500 words a day. And I stuck to that for a while, but then it's so easy to get out of that, and then you become like undisciplined with your writing. Did you find it helpful to have like another person that would be like, we're writing?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's sort of the travel thing in London. Santino and I, ever since Tino moved to London, have lived on the opposite sides of the city. And so if we're gonna make the journey to each other, to spend the day writing, like, we're gonna write, because otherwise we're literally wasting time and money. But it's, I don't know, it's always been, I feel very fortunate that it's always been quite easy, our writing relationship. I mean, since we were, 15 or whatever, when we first started doing stuff together. but it's essentially improvisation. Like, we sit with the laptop open and, we're ready to type things as they come, but it's invariably we're on our feet, sort of as actors, going through all 4 parts and taking it in turns, riffing and vamping and improvising, and that's what we do, and we begin with the comedy. Like, we start with creating situations and pushing these characters into the situations that we think will, test them and be funny to watch them go through. And then, like, once the first draft is finished, which, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago.
Yeah, that was me.
Once that's finished, then it's a case of going back through it over and over again and going, okay, so where does this character go, and are they tested enough to change? And and then the sort of more writing brain comes in all of the redrafting, and finding moments of grace for each of the characters, or moments that we can see them really go through something difficult in amongst the comedy, farcical, borderline farcical framework that we've created in the first place.
And also because me and Scott are so, like, we're not, we are, like, strict, is that a word? But we're not, like, married to every single line that's in it. So if there is room for change, or, like, if we discover something in rehearsals, when we bring other cast members on, if they bring something to it and we're like, oh, we like that, let's get that, and then we just change it, and, like, because we're always, like, it's almost like, we make gags, like, if a publisher ever was like, okay, we want to publish this play, we'd be like, what version? Just because it's always changing, and whatever final draft we have before the first night, by the time the last night comes around, I've got no doubt that something will have happened in a show, or, and we'll have just have added to that, or if something didn't work, we'll have taken it away. So it is that kind of, like,
it sort of
the way we
flows.
work, and, like, if I have an idea, Scott will run with that, and then add to it, and then I'll run with that and add to that. So it's, like, constantly, like, until we've, like, that's mental.
Yeah. Until one of us goes, go back one.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I find, as even with acting choices as well as writing choices. So if you have, like, stuff gets better and better and better, the more mental it is, and then it gets real shit real fast. But see, being at that bit there where it's, like, almost ridiculous, that's the fucking best shit across the board.
And one's sorry.
No, I'm saying me and Scott went to this youth theatre called Pace.
So did everyone else.
I know. Yeah, we're part of the Pace dynasty. But we did a panto every year. They still do the pantos every year, but when we did panto, the director at the time, she was always like, aside from other things, she was always like, go further and then we can bring it back.
Yes, yeah.
And I still hold on to that information doing these plays. I'm always like, let's see how far we can push it, because it's easier to rein it in than it is to try and fucking work someone to, like, give it more.
Yes.
That's more difficult than it is to, like, look, just go as far as you can with this, push it, and then we can bring it back if it's too much.
Because I found that when I've been in, like, when you're in, like, a rehearsal room for, like, a show that's, like, professional or whatever, and you're like, you want to take those big old risks and make those bold choices. And this all comes from my thinking of when I was auditioning for drama school. I was like, why do I want to go to drama school? What can that offer me? I was like, it's a place where I can fucking go further and further and further and further, and it's not going to affect me negatively career wise or relationships wise. Like, it's a safe space for me to just get it wrong for fucking whatever amount of time. And I don't think I'm going to audition for drama school anymore, just because my life's kind of going in a stand-up comedy direction, and then I can always come back to the acting thing. So it's just whatever way it's happened. But what's interesting is, like, in the rehearsal room for, like, a show, because you're, like, writers and you're producing it and you're doing this whole thing, it's like you guys have ownership, therefore you own the safe space within which you can work. Whereas I had a weird thing when I was doing a show where someone else is in charge, someone else is directing it, someone else is producing it, there's all these other people that I don't necessarily know very well, I've just met through the audition process and then the rehearsal process. I felt, not consciously, but just something made me hold back a little touch more than I
100%.
would have in another scenario.
Yeah, I've definitely, even after drama school, and when I was going into sort of my first professional jobs, trying to impress everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like not at all doing...
Trying to nail it.
Not at all doing what I wanted to do and just trusting that I was cast because I was right.
Yeah.
Still trying to impress people. But that's one of the things and we've worked on this over the years. We've not always been... It's not always been this easy, but one of the things I love about working with Santino is that at least together, we've worked on like losing our egos a lot, so that in front of each other we can do crazy things. And it's safe and it's fine, and neither one of us is going to go, that was weird when Tino did that today. You know, it's and that's because we're now sort of directing and producing all of this together. That's the sort of vibe we want in the rehearsal rooms as well for the other actors. Lucy Heath and Laura Singleton, who are excellent, wonderful
amazing
to work with. Is that feeling of like, we could, like, for now, you know, we'll tighten it up when we get to the shows, but like for now, like, take crazy risks and let's see what we can find, because like it's safe, there's no one to impress.
Also like, you know, I find like fucking people are emotional. Do you know what I mean? Like, people chatting during the day, like they get passionate about whatever gets them passionate. No one's always like monotone and doesn't show an emotion. Like,
someone said if you're bored by what the person's saying to you, you're asking the wrong questions.
That's nice.
Because there's something that'll spark them.
Do you want to come on board? Additional dialogue. 100%, yeah. And I think that's true. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff where people think that, like, you know, acting's about mumbling and sort of, and you know, writing is that sort of Tarantino dialogue that's not really about anything or whatever. But like, we've got an hour of runtime for this play. You want to, people, especially in like after parties and things, or in this situation, the stakes are very high with the characters bumping into each other after a long time and this sort of burgeoning proposal that might be happening. People get really passionate all the time in life, and the stakes feel high when they don't necessarily from the outside, you know, like it's the beauty of the Office, the TV show, is that like they bring you into a world that feels sort of mundane, but the stakes for those characters are so high all the time. And that's what we keep saying in rehearsals, is like, there's nothing casual about any of this. It's not chill. Like, the stakes for these four people at this night, in this moment in their lives, couldn't be higher. You know, they might change. They might really change as people tonight.
But that's what we've been saying, because that's our kind of school of thought, and I had it from quite a few drama school teachers, is like, particularly with comedy more than anything else, because it's so easy to like raise the stakes in a drama, but in comedy, the higher the stakes are for you, the higher you make the stakes, the funnier it is to watch. Because people are like laughing at how much you care about whatever the thing is that's going on. So I'm just, so it's always like, whatever we're saying or writing, it has to look and sound like it's the most important thing for that person. Otherwise, you just don't believe it. And I've seen so many shite shows where I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you'd get this upset.
Comedy's about funny people. It's not what we're writing. Like, this is, it's only funny because watching people struggle, right? That's like a lot of laughing at shows and things is like a relation, like, oh gosh, like I've been there. Watching these people struggle and go through, like, it's not funny to them. None of the show is funny to them. They're going through like the worst thing they could be possibly going through. But watching them try and maneuver their way through that is what makes it funny. And that only works when like everything is on the line. You know?
Also like something like Fawlty Towers, like Basil Fawlty, like everything's like, you know, so high, but like, and you know, you hear people go like, oh, all it takes is for Basil Fawlty just like calm down or whatever.
Oh, well, this is the thing.
Like, you know, first off, shut the fuck up, right? But secondly, you're like, you know, that he cares so passionately about having this hotel and making it like world-class hotel. That's why he goes above and beyond to do all these crazy things. It's because he's so passionate about things going the way he wants them to go down, and having this, you know, standards of course, there's a straight, you know, his wife, Sybil, you know, is always like solves all the problems and stuff. But that is also part of the fun, is that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You see
It's
this.
the worst
'cause we all
day
get
of his
passionate
life.
about our own
Like
things.
every
Yeah.
episode of Faulty Towers
Yeah.
is the worst day of his
It's
life.
make or break every
Yeah,
single time.
and that's what's so amazing about it, is you're like,
And he plays it straight.
and you believe it.
But this is the thing where it's like there's such a like disrespectful attitude to comedy amongst theatery people,
Yeah, snobs, man.
where they're like why. I googled it a little while ago. The last time like an actor won Best Actor at the Oscars for playing a comedy role was like 1998.
What was it for? Do you remember?
Can't remember, but it's
I
like
think Kevin Kline may have won for A Fish Called Wanda or something.
I know Jack Nicholson won for
that might have been it.
As You Do It or something like that.
As good as it gets.
As good as it gets.
But that's the thing. It's like a lot of the comedies that are on in the West End, they are not comedies. They are dramas with like a couple of wry lines about the state of Britain today. But that's not a comedy. Like our MO for both our plays thus far has been like, let's write something that doesn't make you want to die at the
my
end.
God.
Like let's write something that's genuinely funny. And like we're trying to talk about real things and things that matter to us as young people today. But something that you walk out of and you're like, that was an amazing night. Like that was fun. I enjoyed my time there. I didn't have to have my soul ripped out of me and like spat back in my face.
Yeah, because it's like people are obsessed these days, and like it's kind of drilled into young actors and artists particularly, and it happens in stand-up comedy as well, where it's like artists as activists. It's like all of your art has to be political and taking on the big issues of the world and doing this and this. But I'm like, what about the art that we just go to enjoy for its aesthetic, like wonderfulness of just how nice it is?
I mean, I've got nothing against like serious, like there's some amazing plays out there that are like, you know,
of course,
make you feel like really like down the whole thing, but you know that commentates itself in other ways. But I'm always like, I see there is a lot of shite out there, loads, more so than good, I often think. So you know, me and Scott had the same school of thought of this, is like I'd love nothing more than to go to the theatre. It lasts an hour max.
Yeah.
I can be in the bar for 8:30 or I can be home for 9 o'clock. I can make a decision, and it's good fun. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I got to relax. I got to not think about taking the dishes out of the dishwasher. I just got to fucking relax, have a good time, have a pint, and just then I'm up the road. And it's just, that's what I really want to give people, is that kind of like taking their mind off whatever thing's giving them stress or anxiety, and but also like being able to like relate to these characters.
Well, it comes back to
Do you know what
that
I mean?
like the childlike thing you were talking about before, where it's just allowing yourself to like listen to a story.
Yeah.
Like the stories we listen to as kids aren't about us like fucking changing the world or whatever. It's about enjoying the story,
absolutely.
because humans enjoy stories and always have done, whether it's around a fire or written down in a fucking book of short stories or whatever, or a play or a performance. Like it's such a primal thing that exists within us but like this is the thing, the theater's fucking magic. It's magic that 100 people or whatever go into a room, and like as good as the actors and the production are, everyone knows that it's not real.
Yeah.
But the people in the audience are pretending as much as the fucking people on stage.
Yeah.
Because they all know that it's just fucking actors. They've paid a ticket, they fucking know what's happening.
Yeah.
But they all just go, yeah, but what if it was?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they all just sit there like wide-eyed
yeah.
and just take that bit of fucking...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
There were moments when I was growing up and like going to the theatre where I remember sitting in an audience in a theatre and like everyone laughing together communally at this show, this like great comedy show, and like that being the best feeling in the world. And with stand-up comedy, like everyone there and like watching, and you know people will be like, they'll watch like stand-up comedy on Netflix or whatever, and they'll be like, yeah, I don't know if it was that funny, or it's like, well, you were on your phone the whole time.
hard.
You're like texting while you're watching, right? That's not. But the last time, and I haven't seen a good comedy in theatre in London in a long time, but I saw one not too long ago, in the White Bear actually, in a really small space, with just 30 people in the half capacity or whatever, and I just so noticed that we were all laughing together because we weren't on our phones.
Yeah.
Because you can't in the theatre.
Yeah.
And you're forced to watch this thing for an hour. You can't get out. You cannot distract yourself. And then this like communal laughter and this like sense of it's the most wonderful way to laugh at things. It's the most wonderful way to experience things. And then once you're invested in the story and you're finding it funny, when it starts raising questions, and we talk about lots of things in this play, and we have a Welsh character, an English character, and 2 Scottish characters, and it's about identity and sexuality and lots of things, and love and happiness.
Yeah.
We're not trying to tell anyone what we think they should know about that. We're just raising questions about those things and talking about the parts of it that interest us. And so once you're like in and you're there and it's fun, you're so much more receptive to those things and to thinking about those things, and then leaving and maybe having a great night, having a drink with us afterwards in the pub, and then the next day being like, I wonder what I would actually do if my best friend, maybe my best friend is mad that I moved away, and whatever. But you can't do that unless you're in a theatre and you're not distracted all of the time.
Yeah.
Also, we wanted to make a play. Scott came up with this really good tagline. What was it like? This is a play by young people.
About young people, for young.
Oh yeah, about young people, by young people, for young people. Because I'm sick and tired of going to theatre, and the average age is 40. Do you know what I mean? And they're old,
1,000.
and they're. Do you know what I mean? They're like old and white, and they're fucking.
And I'm sick of
upper class.
And you can just spot them in the audience where you're like, you're here to network with the guy beside you because you want his company to hire your accounting firm, and you thought it would look,
take to my
it would
show,
look classy to take him to a show.
Because it's just like, on our show, like the tickets are £12 and £10 for concessions. So like, that's some of the shows, the National, with the Globe, they can be so pricey, especially for good seats.
Yeah.
Do you mean the only way you're getting a good seat for a good price is if you know someone in the cast
Yeah.
who can get you a company rate? And I'm just like, there's just a whole generation of people that are just missing out on like having a good time at the theatre. They just think the theatre's like got to be 3.5 hours and it's got to be the National, and you've got to save up 4 weeks to buy a ticket for it.
And
if you don't get it right there, then you can never see it again. And I'm just like, no, it's got to be, especially for us, you've got to have a show that people, especially young people, can relate to, can have a good time at, will tell their pals about it, and not like go and tell their it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like people that pure our age, or of our generation, or younger, or even a bit older, that can like, enjoy the theatre, and it doesn't have to be fucking Shakespeare or a Chekhov or any of that.
Well, I love
nonsense.
that at Guildhall, because you get a lot of the fucking Barbican residents coming to Guildhall shows, and they're the oldest people in the world. Somehow they all live in one place, and it's mental. But they come to the shows and they're all like, "Oh, that Sometime was brilliant," and then every so often Guildhall will put on Mercury Fair, and all these old people are like, disgraceful, and I'm there bawling my eyes out because that's my favourite play in the entire world, because I think it's fucking magical. And they're like, but why did it have to be so gruesome? I'm like, it had to be so gruesome to allow it to explore love in a more passionate and direct way. And it's that fucking the punchy stuff. Theatre, it can punch you in the fucking stomach harder than fucking anything.
Jerusalem, the play.
No, I know who's it by? He wrote Road as well, didn't he?
No, Jez Butterworth, that's Jim Cartwright.
Jez Butterworth.
So Jez Butterworth, like Ferryman, know that, and then Mark Rylance was in the big one. But I did a production of it at the Watermill Theatre, and the Watermill Theatre is this beautiful theatre, right in the heart of like the countryside, and you couldn't get a more like conservative area if you tried. Everyone was old and white, and I felt like I was going to some kind of rehab retreat initially. By the end of it, I was like, oh fucking hell, this is so boring, the area. But the play swears, it says cunt all the time, there's drugs, there's booze, there's like tons of stuff in it. And we had like tons of shows with audience members who were all very old, very white, and they'd be like chatting throughout the show like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that, or why do they have to swear? I'm like, it's not a Q&A. It's not a panel. Do you know what I mean? You can't just shut the fuck up and watch it. Do you know what I mean?
I do a thing in stand-up where someone fucking heckles. I go, do you know what tennis is? And they go, yeah. And I go, so it's a sport that goes back and forward between two people, yeah. And I'm like, do you know what golf is? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, one person does it by themselves. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, this is less like tennis, more like golf. So fuck off.
Yeah. But is that like these people, the average person maybe goes to theatre, feels this like entitlement to go and see a production that is X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's not big uproar. Do you know what I mean? Like when Emma Rice took over at the Globe.
Oh man, that fucked me off. I'm like, you hired Emma Rice.
Yeah.
That's what Emma Rice does.
And you did it because of that, and because she was doing really out there, really cool Shakespeare shows, and your fucking average audience member went up.
This cliff thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes there was moments in ones that I went to see where I was like, oh, that maybe didn't land. But you're fucking swinging for home runs.
Yeah.
We're not trying to bunt the ball. We're trying to fucking hit a home run. And sometimes you miss the ball.
Yeah. And you've
and
got
that's
to
okay.
push the boundaries.
That's
of art.
okay.
That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point throughout history of it.
If you're going to be doing the same plays over and over again by the same writer, you've got to do something else and just put a famous celebrity in it. Do you know what I mean? You've got do you know what I mean? And that's what Emma Rice was doing. And then they brought in someone else. I've not seen this show at the Globe in ages, but like, I'm not getting a thing that like, you know, massive changes are being made. You know, I think it's gone back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
It's interesting, this attitude, the theatre of it being very polished and very correct and on the money when you go and see it. Whereas I don't actually have a poster of him, but I'm getting a poster made of Dave Chappelle. Yeah. He's a stand-up comedian, and he says that like, he says he wants to be like Evel Knievel, because Evel Knievel most of the time didn't make the jump. But people came to see him try and jump over 20 school buses because the attempt was interesting enough.
Absolutely.
For how audacious the attempt was, never mind whether he did it or not.
Yeah.
I want theatre and comedy and everything I do to be how bold it is, that even if it fucking fucks up, that people are like, oh fuck,
they tried it.
I mean, that's why we have this attitude to the play, that it's like living and breathing, and it adapts and flows and changes, because we'll take swings, and we did in the last play, in the shows. I think in the first night we had a big part of that last play, I was handcuffed to a chair, and the first night Tino put the handcuffs together before handcuffing me to the chair, and we couldn't undo them, and so I couldn't be handcuffed and it was like so much of the play relied on it, and I don't know where we could have hit the key or something, but instead of panicking, we just like rolled with that, and people afterwards were like, was that planned? Because they thought like it was too fun to watch for it to have been a mistake. But that's the thing, is that people want to see that. Yeah. People want to see things happening live in front of them in the moment. And this is going back. This is what I wanted to say about the is going to the theater as a young person and like feeling berated by the play, and like, I think, was it Peter Gint or something I saw recently? It's like written by, you know,
Peter Gint. Went to see it.
I think it was that.
In Edinburgh.
But whatever.
But you can not like it. You can not like it. I fucking liked it, but that's fine.
Oh no, I did like it. There were a few lines that young people were saying, and it was like jokes about like them taking pictures of their food on Instagram, and all these really old people in the audience are like laughing away, like ha ha ha, aren't young people exactly super annoying? And it's like, well, no, but it's not fair to write young people that way, because I don't see myself in that. You're making fun of them because you're 75 and you're writing a 21-year-old. But we, as young people, have empathy for young people, right? Like, our generation's messed up, just like every generation's messed up, but we're still struggling through and trying to do our best. And I'm tired of going to the theatre and feeling berated by the author and him or her, but mostly him, using the characters to make points.
But no, 100%,
you know what I mean?
100%. I found that where it was just like, I loved that play. I thought it was really good. I thought it was one of the only plays I saw where it was 3.5 hours long, and I went, Yeah, that probably needed to be 3.5 hours long, which never happens for me because I
loved James. I thought it was amazing.
Oh, just phenomenal! It was
He's
just an
so
absolute
good.
fucking masterclass.
Which pace?
Yeah. As did.
All this being said,
I'm gonna go to pace.
all this being said, by the way, I would like all people to come and see the show.
Yes.
Nah. You'll enjoy it too. You'll laugh at us. And also you relate to like when you were young and you were being like that.
Yeah, and the point was what I'm making is also like, obviously all age comes welcome, but I think you do want to do a play that's like everyone can come see it and everyone can enjoy it. Do you know what I mean, it's not like, you know, we're
not writing a play about two 70-year-old men because we don't know what that's like.
Exactly. So like, you know, you go and see a play and it's about something that maybe you can't relate to, whereas everyone can relate to being at a house party for too long.
Well, this is where it's like when a 70-year-old writes that 21-year-old character, they write it in that way because they can't relate. They write about the bits that they can't relate to, whereas you've written it from the perspective of young people, so old people can relate to that because it's a more honest take on what they used to be like.
Exactly what this guy said. Our new PR.
He's the warm-up act and our marketing guy.
Yeah. In the play I've written at the minute, the first 5 minutes is like essentially a stand-up set by a character that I've written for Chesco, because in my head it's Chesco.
Right, great. Oh. Lucky me then, I guess.
Okay, you're fired. That's our PR guy.
All the actors.
Two Scottish actors right here. Get that play up. Let me have a crack.
Audition for you right now. I'm great.
Oh, Santino, what are you up to? Oh, I auditioned for this play while on a podcast. It's very interesting.
It's the most public humiliation I've ever had.
Oh, man. What... I wanted to ask you about this as actors, because it's been maybe a little while since I've had an actor on. It's been a lot of comedians recently. Stand-up comedy, you get the construct that exists to stand-up comedy is that it's the person is talking to you as them, whether they have a little persona or a fully blown character or whatever. The construct exists that it's a person talking to a room full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they write it themselves, they do all these things. And then actors sometimes come out with their own opinions and everyone gets very annoyed because they're like, oh, you fucking just go back to saying words that other people wrote, okay?
Yeah.
But there's an interesting thing that I've heard people talking about recently where these amazing like character actors who can completely transform in front of you and like all these like Oscar winners and all these people like Joaquin Phoenix and Daniel Day-Lewis and these kind of, you know, those like cult acting figures.
Yeah.
Is part of their mystique and their ability to be so believable in a role the fact that they don't speak as themselves. They're not very characterful off camera. So in interviews they're just like, yeah, it was great, thank you. Okay. And obviously Joaquin Phoenix has come out a bit more recently, but like,
I think it's definitely part of the effectiveness of their work, because the more you know about the face that you're trying to imagine belongs to a character. If I know that that's Ryan Reynolds and he's married to Blake Lively and I know exactly what his personality is like.
Oh, well, even if you know,
so
like
things.
If you go see him in a play or I go see you in a play, like you fucking know the part of the actor.
Yeah, and of course, like I can't if Santino was in Lincoln, I would have a really hard time pretending that was Lincoln. You know, no matter how good his performance would be, which I imagine would be great.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen
a
film about like, oh, you don't know who Lincoln is. It's about the car. Whereas, and similarly, if I know it's Leonardo DiCaprio, like if Leonardo DiCaprio's playing that part, at some point in my brain I might be like, his girlfriend's 25 years younger than him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas Daniel Day-Lewis, all I think is like, man, that guy must be crazy. But I don't know, so I just then I'm watching Lincoln. I don't think it's better or worse. Like, well, you can use your platform for whatever you want to use it for. And I think I can imagine doing that if I really cared about something and I thought it was important enough that I would want people to, and I had however many followers or whatever, I would want people to blah blah blah. But I think you are sacrificing yeah, I think you're sacrificing something. I've watched performances of things and gone, that would have hit me harder. I'd have enjoyed that more if I didn't hate that person for their political views or whatever.
Yes.
You know, when you hear actors that
Right,
come out for things that you
disagree with.
I'm like, or even like their music or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to listen to James Blunt now.
Why?
Well, he said something about Brexit that was like, oh, it's not going to change that much.
Oh, right.
We should all just get on with
for
it.
you.
Yeah, for you, James Blunt.
Millionaire.
Not that I was a James Blunt fan, but I
Yeah,
not
maybe.
long after that saw a video of him singing "Goodbye, My Lover" online. I don't know why I watched it, but I watched it and it was live, and I was like, man, his performance here is like, he's so invested, and like this really means a lot to him, and like and I was like, oh, this would be moving if I didn't hate him. I don't hate him. Yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
But I think this is like.
But you're sacrificing someone potentially getting more from your art.
Yeah.
I think.
But
that's fine. Do whatever you
it's a
want.
lose-lose or it's a win-win. You know, it's like, these days you don't get the, like they did 80 years ago where, to take a photo of someone it took 6 weeks for it to print. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can get on my phone and take a photo of some celebrity steaming on the floor on the tube home or whatever, and then it's viral, and then you have this idea of them, and this image that you had isn't the same or whatever it is. But then, you just it's totally up to the person, what they choose to play up to and what they choose not to play up to. Yeah. Like this play could become like massive and blah blah, and then it'd be up to me and Scott individually and everyone else who was a part of it to be like, well, it depends how we want to portray ourselves, and if you get a publicist, I have mates who get publicists, and some of them are like, they like doing their own stuff and like doing a bit of gags, so that means they're now, that's their thing. Someone doesn't do much, is maybe a bit serious, and that's their thing, but that's what they say, but behind closed doors, that's not who they really are.
Yeah.
So like you can build this, especially these days, this facade of who you want the public to see you as.
Yeah.
When you look at all the amazing comedians or actors who have taken their own life, just out of thin air, think of Robin Williams. We weren't waking up thinking Robin Williams is suicidal or depressed. We just saw this guy who would do funny things and he'd go on chat shows and be hilarious and he'd do great kind of characters and all that. So that's what you thought having a pint with Robin Williams was like. When actually the man was severely depressed, really struggled with who he was, and being this character 24/7. So, it's just like it's the chalice you kind of drink. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah, it's just all part of the industry that we do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you have like Jack D. Do you know what I mean? Stand up, like you think he's gonna be a cunt. Do you know what I mean? You think he's like a grumpy old man, but that's his thing. He could be the kindest, loveliest, sweetest man in the whole world. We don't know until we start meeting up with him. Do you know what I mean? Which could happen, Jack, if you're available. But do you know what I mean? Like, it is up to you, and Dan DeLewis goes out his way in the same way, Ryan Reynolds goes out his way to do his thing. Do you mean Dan DeLewis does go out his way to do films once every 5 years? Be specific about the parts, win the awards, and then fuck off to his home in Ireland and be a cobbler. Ryan Reynolds, on the other hand, chooses to do his thing and be a bit daft and make gags about this, that, and the other.
And it suits a lot of the roles he plays, and the personality of the celebrity kind of becomes entwined with the characters they play.
Casting,
It's, it depends what career you're going for, I suppose. Or what you're comfortable with the public knowing about.
But also like Ricky Gervais, I mean, like he does The Office, but now all of a sudden, every interview I see him and it's like, okay, so who's he gonna offend now?
Yeah,
and then say, I don't care. And you're just kind of like, okay. Well, I mean, I think Ricky Gervais is a genius, and he's like part of the reason that we've written this play. But like, I'm also like, this is just the persona that you then have to keep up.
Yeah,
so it depends which way.
That's 5 o'clock.
Oh God, I rambled on there for a bit.
No.
Apologies.
We'll wrap it up. 3rd till the 8th in London. 8th is sold out, but get in touch if that's the only date you can make. Sure, I'm fucking sweet, yeah.
We'll see. Get in touch with Vittorio.
I'll sort you out, mate.
Our
don't worry.
marketing man.
You can have my ticket. I don't want to go see it.
After that, we've put you so off. Imagine someone listened to this entire thing and was
I
like,
had a
that
ticket.
sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard.
Good.
Good. Come anyway.
No, but also
Okay.
good because for it to connect with people strongly enough, it's gonna miss some people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely. And also,
And
if you
I'd
come and
rather.
see it and
That's
you
okay.
don't like it, class.
Yeah.
We've got your money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're talking about, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And don't tweet about it.
Yeah. Say you're at the National. I mean, don't
Yeah.
say you're at the White Bear.
Don't tag us in it.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
Victoria.
Thanks
This
for
will be
having
up
us, mate.
tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, lovely.
It was lovely.
Class.